Okay, so my name is Allegro. I am a 26-year-old Betty girl from Limpopo. I was born in Polokwane, raised in Pretoria, and I'm hustling in Joburg. So yeah, I own a media company. We deal with digital media from online content on my entertainment blog called Ogela Entertainment. And then we also have a PR marketing agency. And we work on different campaigns with celebrities and corporate clients. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that I do. I don't know if I should get into everything now. There's like 8 entities underneath the Ogela umbrella, basically. And yeah, overall, I'm just an entrepreneur, a young, South African entrepreneur doing her thing. What made me decide to start my blog, ogelaonline.com, I was in my 3rd year. I was a 3rd year student at UJ journalism, and my lecturer kept saying, you're going to earn peanuts as a journalist. You better make sure that there is, you're prepared for it, And they've been saying it since 1st year, and people were dropping out. By the time we got to like the 3rd year class, I think there was about 20 of us, And but I knew like my goal was not to be in the newsroom and be a newsroom journalist. I really wanted to be self-employed, start my own company. So I was doing journalism as just the base, the foundation of where I wanted to go. And we did a module on online journalism. We were asked to do a mock-up blog. And I came top of my class. I created this blog. I called it Ogela Entertainment because Ogela has always been the name that I wanted to, call my company. And my lecturer called me aside, Nadia Funamadva, and she said, you know what, I really loved reading this fake blog. As much as it was an assignment, I think that you should take it more seriously. Don't take it as just a hobby. Even if you take it initially as a hobby, maybe you invest in it because this online space is growing. This was me, 3rd year student. I'm about to graduate, and we're doing a module on online journalism. I took her seriously, and I did my research. I looked at international blogs that I liked, and I wanted to start something that was not like a blogspot.com. It was like legit. The template looked great. I had a proper domain and all of that, and I didn't know nothing about that. Did my research, found out I needed a couple of thousands, about 5,000 to 6,000 rand when I was quoted to start the site, to create that little Ogela doll you see on the purple side. And I did odd jobs as a freelance journalist, wrote for a couple of newspapers including the UJ Observer, Clue magazine. Eventually I got about 7,000 rand, and that was my startup capital for Ogela Media as a whole. Then in October 2011 we launched the blog. I loved it. In about 3 months we had 1.1 million hits. I was like, what is even hits? Who's reading? What are people? Because I'm just thinking I'm writing about stuff I love, entertainment, who released a new music video, fashion, events, And people loved it. And at that time, blogging in Africa and in SA was really becoming big, And, we were one of the first, blogs to just start taking it seriously, getting advertisers. Now it was like, you're making money off this thing. It's not just like freebies, I'm just blogging because I'm bored. So that's how it started. And then from Ogela Entertainment, we went into Ogela Communications, the PR marketing agency. And I did that because, I studied journalism, I majored in communications, and I've always wanted to, explore in the field of PR. But everything started with the blog, and people always thought I was just going to end as the blogger girl. But I knew where I was going, so I wasn't phased. So yeah. How the name Ogela came about, my company, is my name backwards, Allegro, and I was somebody at home right now. I was like, Oprah maybe. Yes, it's Oprah. I was inspired by her Harpo Studios, which was her name backwards. And I think this was like, I was in grade 10 or grade 11. I never missed an episode of Oprah. I don't care what topic they were covering. And when I was in school or extramural activities, my mom would make sure that, that cassette DVD that they were recording. Back then there wasn't, PVR and things like that. So they'd make sure that when I came back, when the house was quiet and everybody was sleeping at night, I would catch up on what happened in Oprah, And I've always followed her career, how she was rejected earlier on. People told her you weren't a good journalist, a good reporter, a good broadcaster, like you're just not going to go anywhere. And here she is, built an empire, became a media mogul. And that for me in the media space is sort of the measure of success when you want to be in that media space. Yes, go above and beyond that, be, the next Oprah and even better if you can. But for me, a lot of people, when you think about women in the media space, that's like the first name. you have to mention internationally. And yeah, so I was inspired by that, and my high school friends will tell you, they used to ask me, what are you scribbling? You know, behind my math book when I'd get bored. And they're like, what is this, Ogela? I'm like, I'm not sure right now. I don't know. Maybe it's going to be a name of a company, but it's something. And yeah, my other name is Mahal, my petty name. And that meant nothing. That backwards. I started with that initially. And then I was like, okay, let's try Allegro. And that made sense somehow. So yeah, then I came down to Ogela. My journey in this industry, trying to start up my own company as a young black, South African woman, has been a bit challenging, but I will say that I haven't had like major issues. I know a lot of people love this struggle story to success and whatnot, but I've been fortunate and blessed enough that there were people along my journey that really wanted to help me. I remember in first year, I looked around the campus, and it was mandatory that you had an extramural activity, whether you were doing hockey, you were in the choir, you were doing something on campus, and I stayed on campus. And I looked around and I thought, well, I can't do any of those things. Hockey's whatnot, I'm done. I left sports in high school. I was like, I moved on to debate and poetry and that type of thing. So I was like, this is not for me. So I was walking around campus and I saw a poster saying UJFM auditions. Never been on radio in my life. I was like, well, let me go give it a shot, because I need to go back to Raise and say I am doing something, outside of my studies. I went in, I remember 2009, Chris Brown, Rihanna's story was major, and I stood in front of the station manager at UJFM and 3 staff members, and they're like, pretend we are your listeners and you're on radio right now, entertain us, make us laugh. And the first thing that came top of my head was entertainment news. It was Rihanna. There was a big saga. Started telling that story like I'm on air giving you entertainment stories. And boom, they started laughing and they were like engaged, and I got the job just like that. They were like, cool, we'll give you a slot. You've joined the UJFM. I was there for 4 years. And I wasn't satisfied. I looked around and I thought, wait, SABC is right across. It's like literally 3 streets from my campus. Why don't I just go look around, at the time I was really inspired by Carol Manana, now Carol Chabalala, and I said, I'm going to go, I know she works in that big building. I don't know her, I've never met her. I'm going to walk in, tell the security I'm studying in the campus next door, and I need to shadow, Carol or any other, journalist or radio presenter that's willing to just, listen to me. And fate be it, blessings and all, I walk into the SABC and she's right by the window at Radio 2000. I waved by the mirror. I was like a little groupie of some sort, I guess. I'm waving, and eventually she comes out during an ad break. She says, hi, she introduces herself. I tell her, listen, I'm studying journalism and I would love to just explore all media platforms, because I don't want to be that person who said I only stuck with print because that was my love, and then I never did, TV, I never did online, I never explored any other fields. So I took initiative, and I think because of that, people were, sort of placed along my journey to help me. There's so many of them, Kwena Mabelo at SABC, that I can always, he's like some guy that I look up to. I'm just like, thank you for taking me under your wings, just to say, you didn't know me, I'm there introducing myself. You could have just said, okay, cool, whatever, maybe another one who just wants a picture. But I introduced myself, I told them, this is what I'm studying, and I just want to learn. I just want to be in your space, And I did that, and which is why I always tell people on social media when they ask me how you got to this point, I'm like, I am really a product of, mentorship, woman empowerment, and, love in general, from home. It all started with my mom, the women that I looked up to, and some of the men within the industry that also said, we can help you. What can I do for you? You want to just be on my show and listen and watch? Cool. I can't give you anything else, but I can give you that. And that was major for me. So I had a lot of help in that sense. But I would say some of the challenges would be people not taking you seriously. I'm petite already, as you can see. So you're walking into boardroom meetings and you're pitching for a client and you're telling them, this is my retainer, these are my rates. They're like, nah, maybe we can cut that in half because surely you're desperate for clients. And you're like, no, I know I'm good for the job. I know that my company can deliver. And the fact that you were interested and set up this meeting, I know that you know what we can do. So pay me just as much as you'll pay the next guy that would walk in here. So those were some of just, the challenges that I encountered as a female, entrepreneur on the rise. But eventually when you take yourself seriously and you understand that I'm not joking about this. Remember, I've never submitted a CV in my life. I don't have a job. There's no backup. I'm looking at advertisers to pay for my rent, to pay for my car, and things like that. I'm 22 and I'm saying, okay, cool, I have a degree, but I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to be, self-employed. So, it was challenging, but when you understand where you come from and where you want to go, for me, I'm just trying to get clients, I'm trying to grow and build my company and have a good reputation, and nothing was really going to stop me. So slight challenges, but I'm really thankful for everybody, even just friends, being there to just listen to your crazy ideas. I want to launch this blog and I want to have this and 8 entities. That time I'm still by the first one, I'm still by the blog, but I'm already having all these different ideas, and they listen and they support. That for me went, a long way, and at 26 it's brought me this far. So yeah. Ogela Media is a holding company made up of 8 other, subsidiary companies. There's Ogela Entertainment, and that's ogelaonline.com, the online blog. That's how I started the company as a whole. And how we generate revenue there is advertising, it's, me being a brand influencer, digital influencer, all of that. So the money that I made from the blog initially, I was able to invest in other ideas that I had, such as the PR agency Ogela Communications, which I then launched later in late 2012. And from registering the company to trademarking the name, things like that, all of that, the funds were supplied by what I was getting through advertising on Ogela Entertainment. So then I went on to Ogela PR, and that's been really amazing, grown very quickly. We had a lot of people that just trusted us with their brands, from corporates to celebrities, that believe that we're in here to just do the job and we're legit, and we're not just promising you PR, not really delving deep into what actually is PR and marketing, because a lot of people just claim to do PR, but they don't even understand the core of what PR is and what the outcome should be. So I think that's what sort of set us apart at such a young age as a company, and we've been able to quickly grow. And then there's also allegroeats.com, and that was inspired by my followers. Really, I have them to thank, because I love cooking, I love baking, and I would always share that on my social media. I post my meals, and people are like, come on, stop being stingy. What did you use there? What did you do? How did you make that shake, that salad, or that cake? Share ingredients. Start a blog. Then I thought, okay, I can't put all those food ingredients and everything onto Ogela Entertainment, so that means now I have to start another blog. And within about a month or so after launching that, and I would always tag Woolworths, because I shop at Woolworths and the ingredients, and I'd tell my followers, no, you can find this cream there. Woolworths contacted me, and they were like, you know what, we want to sponsor your blog. It's like, really? Can sponsor my food blog, pay me, and all these things. So Woolworths came on board, and before I knew it, Sogo-san came on board, and they were like, basically, we want to, sponsor your travels. Everywhere you go, you review our restaurants and our hotels. So everywhere in South Africa, like they have hotels in every province, every city, I get to sleep there for free, review their places, and all of that is it's part of being a digital influencer, brand influencer. So for me, it was like, you can actually live in this digital space, contrary to what my mom believed, journalism was just paper. Now it's, no, I'm actually working. What are you doing? In bed, because I don't want to go to the office. But I'm on my laptop, I'm working, Made a couple of thousands today. So don't worry. People now they got into the habit of it. So that was Allegro Eats, and that's still running. And I love that, because it's also my passion, and now I love seeing my followers recreate the meals. They'll go and make something, and they tag me this, I tried your recipe, totally bombed out, I burnt the cake, I tried again, or fun things like that. I actually loved it, or I added something new onto it, So that's really like a hobby turned into, something that I can make money out of, a hobby turned into a business, much like Ogela Entertainment. I loved entertainment news, and I decided to write about it, passionately so and consistently, and people decided to invest in it. And that's those 3 spaces that are still living on their own. And then there's also the real estate company Ogela Properties. I launched that late last year. That was inspired by my mother. She has a couple of land and farms, and I'd always I didn't understand. I was like, what are you doing with farms, ma? What, cows and things like that. And then last year we had a huge chat, and she's like, you know what, you should put your money somewhere else. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I know you love this entertainment space, PR, communications, but look at an industry that you're not so, you maybe weren't keen on looking at now at your age. Maybe later you thought in my 40s or something. And I thought, okay, it wouldn't hurt, I guess. So bought a couple of properties, some student properties we manage, things like that, still a very private company, but that's also, something that's just going to flourish and live on its own. It's a real estate company, and we manage other companies' properties, and then we also own land and property of our own. So whenever I can invest and I have some extra cash, I'm like, let me not rush off and go to like London or somewhere for a vacation. Go buy a property, go buy some old house, renovate it, put some people in there, some students, turn it into a commune. And those are things that young people don't think about. They think, well, if I have 100K or something, I'm just gonna blow it. Like, I'm just going on a vacation, I'm gonna buy a Chanel bag, I'm gonna do this, and all of that will come. But like, what do you look back at once you have all of that stuff? Are you gonna go take your Chanel bags and go to your little 1-bedroom or bachelor apartment? It's like, it doesn't make sense. So weigh, there's different options. So that was inspired by my mother. And then there's also my charity foundation. It's called Ogela Helping Hands. That was started in 2011, and we do charity events throughout the country. Every year we literally have like a calendar where every 3 months there's something that we're doing. In January to Feb we have a back to school drive. We nominate either primary or high school where we think they're really underprivileged kids. They need uniform, books, shoes, things like that, and we help them out. We've also nominated, adopted a school in Soweto. It's called school/orphanage. It's called Imizamo Yetu, and we've been working with them since 2011. Christmas parties annually, we take the kids to the zoo, we take them, they must have the real experience of a Christmas party, where they get presents and, take different celebrities and people they see on TV to actually visit them at the orphanage, paint their walls, clean up their rooms, read to them, cook, eat, and, things like that. So that's pretty fun. We have different campaigns throughout the year. For Women's Month, we have for, No to Women and Children Abuse, that activism in November. There's different campaigns literally every other 2 months. We have our soup kitchen drives where we feed the homeless throughout the streets of like Pretoria and Joburg. We're extending that to like Alex next year and Soweto also. So it's just growing, and it's really young people that are saying, listen, we want to come together on one Saturday. We'll bring whatever we've collected, other shoes, some blankets. We talk to the companies we work for, ask them to donate things, and we're helping people. We don't have any sponsors on that. It's just us saying, I'll save 10 Rand a day just so that when we do this campaign, I have 1,000 Rand for you guys to buy bread, to buy whatever it is to help people. So that's our way of, just giving back as young people. Because I also know that there's this misconception about millennials as a whole, that we're too greedy, we want things to just happen now, but I think a lot of the work that we do comes from the gratitude that we then receive from things like charity work. We can give like most of our hours just doing that because we leave there fulfilled more than anything. Yes, I didn't bank, yes, I didn't get some fat check or whatnot, but for me it's about what people say when I leave the room about me, and touching somebody else's lives. I know some of those kids will never remember me years from now, but maybe they'll remember that I got my first book from some group of people that came to our orphanage that I used to live at, and then I started reading, and now I'm a news anchor, or something like that. You won't remember that it was Allegro. It's fine. I don't need that, but I think that just when people just say genuinely thank you for like feeding us today. I couldn't have, maybe I could have missed a meal today or something. So I think that for me speaks volumes. And then also, what did I miss? Oh, we have our women empowerment movement. It's called Boss Chick. There's a lot. See? Mm-hmm. It's called Boss Chick SA. It's an online women empowerment movement and mentorship program where ladies can go to bosschicksa.com. They sign up, and I do one-on-one sort of online mentorships, because there's a lot of people that email me and they want to come through to the office and shadow me, and unfortunately I take in like 4 to 6 interns, like where I mentor proper like every year. But now there's a whole lot of other people. There's some in Cape Town and Bloem and wherever. So I avail, my time, and so you can email me. We can have Skype, calls, an hour, half an hour. I can look at what are your, the proposal that you have. Because some people also, they want mentorship and they haven't even started. When I come in there, I'm like, okay, so what do you need mentorship? No, just tell me whatever. Like, it doesn't work like that. When you want mentorship, take initiative, bring a proposal to me and say, this is what I have so far. where do I go? Now I think I'm stuck. Like, show that you've taken the first couple of steps and now you really need somebody to just guide you, because at the end of the day, I'm also going to leave you as a mentor. You need to go on fully on your own, you know. You can't build a career off of what your mentor is going to tell you throughout. You need to make your own mistakes and learn from that. The ideal thing about having a mentor is that you don't repeat so many of the mistakes that I repeated, you know, that I did myself. Then I can guide you, you can avoid some things, but you still have to learn, you know. And it's different businesses. Some women approach me, they want to get in fashion and, you know, open their own hair salons, beauty and things like that. I might not be directly in that industry, but I have friends that started businesses in fashion. And then I would tend to say, you know, Sandy from Tribal Songs, please help. You know, maybe she can come work at your store, you know, see the industry, you know, take it to your fashion weeks, things like that. And it helps when people take that first, you know, step, but I can't drag you. How do I manage all 8 entities? So far, I just have a good team around me. And I love that it's people that started off volunteering. You know, people that I initially did not pay. Some of them I'd only met via email, and they were like, we want to freelance for your website, submit some articles, I want to write, I want to do, you know. And then slowly but surely as the company grew, I needed to hire people. And where am I going to look? I'm going to look closest to the people that have been loyal to the company, that have been proactive even when there wasn't any money, you know. Then I started hiring the ladies that, you know, approached me, you know, from when I just started the blog. I mean, I've employed ladies that started with me in 2012. You know, I launched the blog in October 2011, but in about March 2012, there were writers. Sinetembe, she was living in a different city, I think in Bloem somewhere. Now she's my PA/account exec at Ogela Communications. She has a job and she loves it. But how she started is, you know, sending an email saying, this is what I love doing, I love writing, and I've seen your space, I love your website, can I contribute? I'm not expecting anything from you. I just want my name to be there, write my articles, I'm credited. She did that for like a year and a half or so, and when she told me that, you know what, I need a job, I'm coming to Joburg now, we're moving that side as a family, I thought, well, this is, you know, her opportunity and also my chance to start growing the company and not do things on my own and sleeping at wee hours of the morning, waking up early, you don't have a social life anymore. All of that, yes, was sacrifice in the beginning, but as you grow, you need to hire people that share the same vision as you, that love what you do, and they're loyal, they're proactive, and they want to see you grow, knowing that this is not for Allegro, this is not, oh, just Allegro's company. They're also involved, and they're also leaving a legacy of their own, because they're doing something that they love. And I always joke with the ladies at the office that one day your kids must be working for this company, you know, or at least one of the departments somewhere. So I'm glad I created that platform, but don't look at it like you're doing me a favor, you know. It's also about you feeling that I fit in finally in something that I've always wanted to do. And so yeah, I've had a lot of help, you know, even from family. My family's always been, they're like my biggest fans. Like, I swear to you, my mom, my sisters, my brother, even when they don't understand some of the things that I tell them, you know, at dinners, I'm like, you know, Mom, there's this thing, I'm gonna go and pitch it. She's just like, you know what, go do your thing. She's always just there, like, baby girl, go do your thing, it's fine, we support you. So family, good friends, and, you know, my loyal employees that have just shown initiative from the get-go and said, you know what, I want to be a part of this. And we've come this far, and so far there's about 8 ladies that I've employed. So the company is growing. In like 5 years of establishment, from my little raised room at UJ. Why am I so ambitious to be successful? I think it was how I was raised. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of a history. I'm the last of 4 children, 3 girls, 1 brother. So I have 1 brother and 2 older sisters, and then there's me. So I was born in Glencar Hospital in Limpopo, and then my parents were in Pretoria because of work. My dad was a lecturer at university and all of that. My mom had gotten her degree as a teacher. She's a professional teacher, but she had sat on it because, like, you know, my dad was well off and she didn't need to work. She was basically just a housewife, and we were good. You know, life was just fine. We were comfortable. When I was like daddy's little girl, you know, anything mom said no to, I'm like, whatever, I know I'm gonna get it. Run to daddy. And then when I was 11, my parents decided they were going to divorce. It wasn't a decision. They divorced. You know, it wasn't on my mom's part to say I wanted divorce or whatnot, but yeah, my parents divorced, and immediately I think my world sort of shrunk. You were daddy's little girl, now you mommy, you know, you have to go with her, and it was by choice obviously, but it's like my perfect little happy family. You know, me getting everything I kind of just wanted from the age of like what, 6 and all of that up to like about 10, 11. That luxury was gone, literally removed. Like it was like carpet being just pulled out from your feet, and you're like, wait, I'm not used to this lifestyle. Then boom, reality, and we head back to Limpopo. I'm like, what the hell? What is this? Schools, the standards are not the same. You know, I'm used to going to the best schools and malls and movies and things like that. And not to sound like a spoiled brat or anything, but that was the life I was exposed to because my parents wanted better for all of us. You know, they took us from Limpopo and said, no, our kids are going to go to these schools. We can afford. We want them to be exposed to this lifestyle. Then they divorced. My dad left my mom with absolutely nothing. She was a housewife, sitting on a degree, and now she's like approaching her 40s. She has to look for her first job with 4 kids. I remember my elder sister had just finished at UNISA. That's the second born, me Bonnie had to go to varsity. Where is she going to start with all of that? So I think grasping how my mom lost, literally our family lost everything, my mom lost everything, and her having to pick herself up as a single parent now. I haven't seen my dad since I was 12, mind you. I don't know how to explain all of this. This is going to be too long. But I haven't seen my dad since I was 12. And for me, it was like, you were perfect. You were a good dad for like the past decade of my life. What happened? What, you just decided you didn't want to stop being a dad, dump your 4 kids with the wife, get a divorce, travel overseas or something. I don't even know where he is at this point. So that was it. And I think that when that struck for me, it said, you know what, I need to do better, you know, when I grow up, you know. My mom rebuilt her life, and I think watching her for me was the best motivation. Yes, the Oprahs are there and whatnot, but it started at home with her mother, my grandmother, and then seeing my mom rebuild her life, you know, build her own house, get, you know, after like about 6 years after they divorced, life was a bit up and down, and then we were set. I didn't even think I'd make it to varsity. I didn't think I'd make it to UG. I was like, I just get your matric, let's see. But my mom was always like, no, study for your best grades. I don't want you to worry about money and things like that. I'm the adult here, I'm your mother. Don't tell me anything at school, because like I used to hide things. I remember when they wanted like certain textbooks, I'd be like, it's fine, I'll just use my friend's one or photocopy or do something like that. And then when my mom would find out, she'd be like, why do you do that? Don't feel pity for me. I'm your mom and I can provide. As hard as you think the situation is, don't, I'm the older one here and I'm supposed to take care of you. I have responsibilities and things like that. And just watching her just, you know, come from being this housewife who chilled around, got everything, picked up kids from school, went to restaurants, you know, she was fine, sat on her degree, and now she had to wake up and start working and providing for her children. And she didn't say, you know what, I'm too old for this. I'm not gonna go look for a job. I'm like approaching my 40s. I have 4 kids. I'm just gonna like ask my family. Which, by the way, her family, she comes from a family of like entrepreneurs, which I think also inspired me a lot. Her brothers, my uncles, and my aunts, all, you know, family businesses handed down to them, and they've ran them all so well. None of them have worked for anybody else, you know, all family businesses. And my mom refused any help from her brothers. She was like, I think it's about time I do something on my own. I was married for so long, children, housewife. Now this has, I think this is a blessing in disguise. Let me try stand on my own 2 feet. If I'm really desperate, I'll ask for help. And she did that, you know. And before I knew it, I woke up in a big house. I was like, Ma, what happened? I thought, you know, she had built a house, she's parking her 2 cars there. She's like, she overcame the odds where it's almost impossible for somebody with like 4 kids, and they were all at varsity and things like that. And I'm just like, how did this woman do it? You know, how did she do that? But she did it because she went to look for a job, and she was like, I'm not going to let this situation define me, because my husband decided to leave me with my 4 kids with no money, nothing. He literally left my mother with nothing, not even a house. Like, we left. So mom was my biggest inspiration, and then women like your Oprahs in the industry. When I started looking in the industry to see who are women that are paving the way that I can look up to, there was your, you know, Oprahs. There was Basitana Kumalo, Carol Bauer, Kanye Glomo, There's so many. Johanna Mukoki, Basi's sister, who's also a fierce entrepreneur. So women like that for me. Do I think entrepreneurship is the answer for South African women? Not all. I always say that entrepreneurship is not for everybody. As they always say in life, some people are meant to be leaders, others are meant to be followers. And it doesn't mean that when you're a follower, you sitting at the bottom of the table eating crumbs. It just means that your strengths are not in leadership, and therefore you will join a company that is led by somebody else. But whatever position that you're in, maybe you end up in management, and that's you're comfortable in that, and that's your strength. You love what you do in that. You don't even have aspirations of owning a company. So I feel like a lot of young people tend to rush into entrepreneurship because now they think, oh, it's the end thing. I also want to have a business on paper, and then zero in bank account. You end up owing SARS for nothing, and it's like, why did you do that? So I feel like entrepreneurship is not for everybody. Yes, it is very empowering once you have something of your own to just say, I started this and I'm going to make it work. But I think if I didn't fall into entrepreneurship, I would be working for this big media company, and I would love my job just as much, and I would give it 110%, and I would go to work early. I would be proactive, make suggestions. I wouldn't just go there because I'm getting a salary and paying my rents and things, and feel like I'm being pushed to work and pushed out of work and things like that. So I feel like if you know that this is my strength, I feel like I could really be a good entrepreneur, and I really want to equip myself with the other skills that I'm lacking, because I want to own my own hair salon, my own makeup range, my own fleet of car washes in my neighborhood. Entrepreneurship is not something that you need to think really, really hard about and try and make some big invention like Mark Zuckerberg, whatnot. I always say, look around your community. It's about needs. What do people need? And if you can supply that service, then you make money out of it, and you start there, and then before you know it, you're the one with the biggest supermarket in your township, because people can't afford to be paying taxis to go to the nearest mall, far away. So why don't you look around and say, well, I can do something here, and I think I'm capable enough of running a store. I love it also. You must love it, because when you're not making profit, you're going to close up and go look for a job. But when you love it and you're not making enough money, and you're not even paying yourself sometimes, you're paying other people, but you're just getting by. You're just like, I'll see, let me just make sure that there's stock, there's whatever that I need to be doing. Then you know that you're in it for the long haul, because you're not getting paid. People are saying entrepreneurship, your business, suits and all. The ladies are looking proper spa days every Monday. People are slaving away on Monday. You're like, that's not realistic. When you get to that point, yes, it will come, but you're going to slave for your own company, for your own legacy. And I think once you see that, okay, I think I'm meant for entrepreneurship, go for it. I would advise it, because it's also, that independence is nice, Or you want to work a 9 to 5, don't just sit with that 9 to 5. There must be a hobby that you can turn into a business. Do it after hours. Do something over weekends, that when you're not working, let me do something on the side, and maybe you'll be so good at it that eventually you leave your job and then continue with the company. But don't be just quick, start a company because Allegro is doing it or whatever. I definitely think Women's Month is necessary, and I'm a firm believer of celebrating women every day, just as much as we should celebrate young people, not just in June 16, Youth Day. Celebrate young people every other day. Young people are doing amazing things in a world that has put so many pressures on them. Same applies to young women and women in general that are trying to just be strong and fierce and go-getters and ambitious, in a world that's telling them, no, but you deserve to be on that level. Why are you trying to aim for management? Why are you trying to aim for CEO? Why are you trying to get higher? Be comfortable with that. So I think just shining a light on women in Women's Month, sort of just those that might slightly forget throughout the rest of the day, to say, listen, we need to celebrate our women, be it your mom who got you to this point where maybe she was a domestic worker or life was just tough, but she said, my kids are just going to be survivors, and I'm doing this because I want them to get the best education. I want them to do so much more. I want to live my dreams through them, because most of our parents are doing that. They're living their dreams through their children, They wanted to run their own companies, but because of circumstances and less opportunities, that they were able to somehow make sure that we get those opportunities so that they can see our dreams still live on, their dreams still live on in us. Otherwise, it's like, why did I even work hard if my child is going to end up where I am and where I ended, and the cycle cycle keeps being repeated. So I definitely think that women empowerment and, you know, just Women's Month as a whole is great, and yes, the 9th should stay a public holiday. Hi guys, this is Allegro, founder and CEO of Ogela Media. You're watching Skip